Hello, this is Randy, and welcome back to Brain Break with Randy and Keitho. I wanted to tell you this story about how things have changed. We all have cell phones. When I was younger, there were no cell phones. I know that's hard to believe. We used payphones. There were payphones everywhere. We would use those payphones to call in and check messages. We also had code we could use to call in, make long distance calls at a discount because long distance, as I said, was very expensive. For a while, as a family, we even had an 800 number our children could use that they could call from anywhere and call our home. Now, with cell phones, all those things are kind of not really necessary anymore. But that's the way it used to be. Uh, I used to know exactly where the quiet cell phones were in every place I went. I knew that if I could find a hotel lobby, I probably could make quiet phone calls, sound professional, be able to hear what the other person was trying to tell me, as opposed to making a phone call outside, say, a 7-Eleven or a convenience store of another kind. I was an early adopter of cell phones. I didn't have the suitcase cell phone, but I did have the brick. That was kind of hilarious because I paid a monthly fee and then I paid 28 cents a minute and I bought 100 minutes. If I went over that, I had to pay even more. So I kind of watched my minutes carefully. But it was a Nokia phone. It was very interesting because once a week you were to use the equipment they provided you and you discharged the battery completely. So it had no memory. When I sold that a year later, it actually was, the battery was just as good. It was an incredible thing, but I think they realized they weren't going to sell many batteries at that rate. So they no longer do that. But Nokias were good phones back in the day. Then we got pagers, and all they were good was for your customer could page you and give you a number to call back. And later on, you got a pager where a digital page could be sent by your office, or when software was available, other people could do it as well. But then there were cell phones. I remember when I lost my pager to one of the other employees and they gave me a cell phone. I wasn't really happy because now they could talk to me whenever they wanted to. Before I could always say, well, it wasn't able to call you. But a cell phone, they've become part of our lives anymore. They're definitely not. It's interesting to me that the cost of the phone is so much. I mean, we don't even blink spending $1,000 or $1,200 for a contract for a couple of years on a cell phone that in 2 years we're going to definitely get rid of. We're going to do it all over again if you're like the average person. I have friends that don't have smartphones, and I envy them. Cell phones are a great tool to have. It's been interesting to me to see the change. As a substitute teacher, I was amazed at the number of children I had in even second grade that had cell phones. Second grade that had cell phones. My kids got them. I think my youngest daughter got one when she finally went into, I think, 7th or 8th grade. My son got one when he went into like 10th grade, and he was older. And I don't know when my oldest daughter got a cell phone, probably in high school, but I'm not positive. But I know that they were expensive. I just see people with all these cell phones and I'm thinking, wow, that's expensive. I know my wife and I spend a lot more than we'd like to on them. But cell phones can be used for good or bad. I think one of the sad things I see is when people get together and they sit down and they look at their cell phones instead of talking. My wife accuses me of looking at my cell phone when we sit down to dinner at a restaurant. She doesn't complain when we're at home, so I guess I don't do it at home. But when we're in a restaurant, she does complain and is concerned. So I have to be better about that. Concept of using technology for our benefit is something that I think we ought to think about often. With the internet, it's just incredible the kind of information you can find. And so technology can be a great thing. Yet, if you look at some of those favorite dystopian movies like Terminator, you realize Skynet takes over and becomes sentient. It's always been one of my worries. I think we need to watch out for that, but I think we need to learn to use technology. Never just assume that it's going to work, but make sure that we're making it work for us. And remember, it's a lot better to have a cell phone than to have to stop and find a payphone. I used to literally go to the bank at least weekly, if not more often, to get rolls of quarters to use in payphones. And we don't have to do that anymore, thank goodness. So technology can be a good thing. And I think it is a good thing, but we need to learn to use it so it works for us and not against us. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Brain Break with Randy and Keitho. Please like and subscribe. Give us your comments. And if possible, tell your friends and family about us. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.